Welcome to Veterans Perspectives. It's Jeff. We still have a lot to talk about. So let's get started. First sponsor is us. It's always us. Our Etsy store is link will be in the description. We have all kinds of good stuff. Sweatshirts, hoodies, and crew necks. T-shirts, coffee mugs. Even if you're a teacher, because I'm a former teacher, I've created some Canva planning documents. I even just released a World War I half unit. It's like a 2-day unit that is a digital download that I created myself, that even has different components for students as well. So there are some teaching elements also. And I chose World War I because some people struggle with that particular war. So, as a former history teacher, that is the one I went with. So, the Etsy store, jkprintsgifts.etsy.com. The link will be down in the description. It's run by my wife and I. We do use a print-on-demand company called Gelato to print and ship all of our merchandise, but we create all the designs. Link in the bio. All right, let's get started. I published a blog literally this morning, January 20th, 2026, at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep. So I published a newsletter blog on Substack that I had been working on, but I finished it. It was kind of in its final draftish stage. So I finished it on my phone, and now we're going to talk about it because it needs to be said, because a lot of this shit is showing up on not just my comment section, but other veterans' comment sections on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of it, and it needs to be talked about. The title of the blog, which will be the title of the video, is Stop Attacking Veterans for Figuring Out a VA System That We Didn't Break. Okay? And now I want to be clear. I'm not saying the VA system is perfect at all. I've already made it clear that, yes, there is fraud within the VA system. Okay? That is clear. Just like there's fraud in every government system. Just like there's fraud in every insurance system. Okay? But y'all, including the government, have taken it upon yourselves to attack the veteran who figured out how to use the system. Okay? So if you spend any time in veteran online spaces, comment sections on YouTube, Reddit threads, Facebook groups, you're going to see the venom, okay? Not the comic book character, but you're going to see the venom from people who either don't understand how the system works, or B, they're veterans who forgot what it meant to serve. And because that's a real thing. Okay, veterans fucking over other veterans, right? Like Lieutenant Colonel Gade, right? Also a very real thing. They're called Blue Falcons, buddy fuckers. Okay, because that's what y'all are acting like. Okay, and it's creeping in more and more. Okay, it's a growing resentment, not just from civilians, but tragically within our own ranks, okay? Aimed at veterans who are successfully navigating the disability process. The narrative goes like this. Veterans have gamed the system, quote unquote. People are angry that we're using tools like Nexus letters, disability benefit questionnaires, DBQs, and they get mad at veterans coaching other veterans on how to get the best rating, okay? That's the narrative. Okay, but let us be crystal clear about what's happening. For decades, the VA system was and still is a bureaucratic maze diagnosed to exhaust veterans into giving up. Okay, we did not break the system. Fuck, we didn't create the system. Okay, we finally figured out how to navigate it, and now y'all are mad. Okay, now am I a fan of veterans going online and bragging, quote unquote, about their rating? No, I'm not. I don't do that. But Also, people cope in different ways. Okay? Maybe look, you don't know if that veteran waited 10 years to get that rating, and their excitement was, hey, fuck yeah, finally. Who are we to judge that? Think about that. Step back, get out of yourself for a moment, and step back and look at the bigger picture. Okay? We have cracked the code somewhat on how to demand the benefits we were promised, and suddenly people want to change the rules and screw us out of them. Okay? And again, I want to be clear. I want a system that is fair, entirely fraud-free, but unapologetically veteran-friendly. Okay? None of this government-friendly bullshit. Veteran-friendly. To get there, we need to stop the infighting and start addressing the real issues. So here's a reality check for you guys. Okay, we're going to break down a reality check, okay, that's going to check the critics, the gatekeepers in our own community, and things that everyone needs to hear. We're not gaming the system. We're translating it. Okay? To an outsider, the current environment looks like manipulation. Okay, fine. That's your interpretation. They see veterans paying private doctors for Nexus letters or watching videos on how to pass a CMP exam, and they assume it is a how to fake it guide. And some people definitely have used it that way. That's the fraud. Creating those things isn't the fraud. Okay? Actually lying about it, that's the fraud. Okay? But creating these things as tools for veterans is not the fraud. You couldn't be more wrong about this. The VA adjudication process is adversarial. It's an adversarial legal system. It does not speak plain English. Okay? It speaks Title 38 of the Code of Federal Regulations. Come on, fuck off. You could go into an exam with a legitimate service-destroying condition, but if you or your doctor do not use precise terminology required by the VA rating schedule, you will be denied. And you'll have to go through an appeals process, should you choose to. Figuring out the system, quote unquote, is not about inventing disabilities. Okay? It's about learning the language required to prove a valid medical condition to a government bureaucracy. When the VA's own appointed examiners fail to connect the dots between service and disability, that's the nexus, service, disability, okay, which happens constantly, veterans are forced to seek outside medical opinions, the Nexus letter, and pay for it. They're not free to do the job the VA should have done in the first place. Imagine a veteran going to a place called Veterans Affairs. Okay? Imagine this. Going to see a medical doctor, getting diagnosed, writing a personal statement showing their own connection. Okay? Getting buddy statements, which is what we've all been asked to do, those of us that have been through the process, right? Getting statements from your significant others, right? Like wife, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, right? Showing a connection. And the VA saying denied. There's no medical connection. What the fuck? I saw a medical doctor at your house that says this guy has this. And then I wrote a letter, okay, I have this. I was here at this time according to my service records, which you also have. And they say, no. So now you have to go outside the veteran on your own dime and get a letter from a doctor who you have to pay to see to create that connection. There's your broken system, people. So that's not gaming the system. That's not fraud. That's us doing our due diligence. We need to shut down the combat-only gatekeeping. I am a combat veteran. Everyone likes to look at my little hat right here. This is a gift from my wife, by the way, so fuck off. Okay? I am a combat veteran. I am no different than a veteran who never saw combat. Your veteran status, and I'm sorry to all of you out there that think that you have a different scale, because you don't. We are no different than someone who is a veteran who served, who did not see combat. This is infuriating and dangerous rhetoric. None of us chose when and where we deployed or if we didn't. None of us. Zero. And if anyone says they did, guess what? Liar, liar, pants on fire. There are people who claim only combat veterans should get benefits, or that you need a Purple Heart to qualify for a 100% rating. First off, my response to that is fuck off. You're an idiot. Okay? That argument is intellectually lazy and ignores the fundamental contract of military service. When you sign on the dotted line, the government owns your shit, owns your body 24/7, 365. They own the risk. If you destroy your spine loading crates in a stateside motor pool, the impact on your ability to work later in life is real. Are you not a veteran at that point? Should you not be compensated? Should you not be given medical care? Because some of you don't think so. And that's fucking wild. If you develop cancer from toxic exposure on a base that never saw a mortar attack, the government is liable. Some of you don't think so. I want you all to step back for a moment. Where are my Marines at? Camp Lejeune. That's all I should have to say. For those of you that don't know, just Google search Camp Lejeune water issues. Look up the amount of people, the amount of Marines and their families who have contracted diseases and cancers on a base. According to you combat-only douche fucks, you think they shouldn't get a rating. That's fucking wild. So stop being an idiot. If someone endures military sexual trauma, MST, in garrison, that trauma is service-connected. MST is a very real thing, and it happens way more than it should, and it needs to be fixed, military leadership. We'll talk about that another day. But you're telling me if someone is raped, SA'd, sexually assaulted in garrison as part of their service on active duty, they don't warrant a rating? They don't warrant compensation? They don't warrant care? Fuck off. There is no combat tier of disability at all, in any way. So your attempts to create a combat tier for benefits are an attempt to absolve the government of responsibility for the wear and tear of maintaining a standing army. And this is coming from a combat veteran. Furthermore, this mindset is catastrophic for mental health. PTSD is not exclusive to firefights. And for those of us with PTSD, myself included, I can guarantee you that while you were in combat, now we all have different experiences, but while you were in combat, you put that shit to the back of your mind. You sucked it up and drove on, because that's what we were all told to do. The chronic stress of high-tempo operations handling remains, or witnessing training accidents can break people just as effectively as combat. Mental health issues are not exclusive to combat at all in any way. Telling veterans that their trauma doesn't count, quote unquote, because they didn't earn a specific ribbon is a great way to ensure they suffer in silence until it's too late. Stop doing it. Stop it. You're a buddy fucker. You're a blue falcon. In fact, you're a dick. Stop doing it. You're not special. You're not special. Stop doing it. Like, unapologetically, veterans helping veterans. So let me get this straight. People are mad that veterans are coaching other veterans. Get over it. The VA rating system and process, like I mentioned before, is cumbersome and, quite frankly, bullshit. So when veterans try to help other veterans to figure out the system, now y'all are mad? Okay. When the official channels failed to educate us on our rights, and when the VSOs were too overworked to give personalized strategies, we had to save ourselves. We turned to each other. We built networks to share information on CFR 38, case law, and successful strategies. I used a state VSO. Here where I live in Arizona, I used a state service. I didn't even use one of these at all. Did I watch YouTube videos? Yep, sure did. I was like, cool, okay, now I know where to find this document. Because I had no idea. I didn't even know my state had those services until I saw it on a video. So you're telling me that shouldn't be a thing? Because that's fucking wild. So we shouldn't help each other. Okay. Sometimes this vitriol comes from the old guard mentality of veteran. These are veterans who fought the VA alone 30 years ago, got denied, and feel resentful that the newer generation has better tools. It's the crab in the bucket mentality, where they feel that if they suffered, you should too. Stop it. I waited years. Hell, the VA tried to tell me I wasn't a veteran when I was standing there with my DD-214 and my contract. They're like, no, we don't believe you. Okay, fuck you. Do I want any other veteran to go through that? Young or old? No. Why would I want that? I make these videos for two reasons. One, they're personal therapy for me because I like yelling and writing. Okay? And two, to make sure y'all know, get your shit. Get your paperwork. Talk to somebody. Make sure you're getting the care and the compensation that you earn. Not that you deserve, that you earned. Stop it. Veterans, stop doing that shit. A win for one veteran sets a precedent that helps all of us. We cannot be our own enemy. We already have an enemy. They sit in Congress. I know some of you dick licks would be like, oh, well, this is Trump's fault. If you think the VA issue started with Trump, you're an idiot. This has been going on for decades. If you want to blame Trump, fine. You know what? Type it in my comments because it just gives me engagement. And that's great. But note that you're wrong. The path forward, because I'm going to give you actual solutions. Okay, I'm not just going to tell you that we're right. I'm going to tell you how to fix what's wrong with the VA because veterans need a seat at the table. I can fix this. Easily, I can fix this. No one responds to my emails. The path forward, real solutions to reduce fraud and improve the system. So I agree with critics on one thing. There needs to be zero fraud in the system. I've said this a billion times, and I'll say it a billion more. Stolen valor and faked claims steal resources from the truly injured and destroy public trust. However, the solution is not to attack veterans who use DBQs or to implement fucking arbitrary combat qualifiers. The solution is systematic reform with veterans with a seat at the table. Hell, send me to fucking Congress. I'll put on a fancy little monkey suit and tell them to fuck off. Y'all would love to watch that. Because I ain't changing who I am just because I'm sitting in front of a member of Congress. I guarantee you that. So here's how we make the system fraud resistant, not fraud free, because you can't make anything fraud free. I wish you could. But here's how we make the system fraud resistant and veteran friendly. Stop farming out CMP exams. Number one, stop farming out CMP exams. The current reliance on third-party contractors for compensation and pensions exams is a failure. A failure. We are sending veterans to strip mall doctors, okay, who often spend 10 minutes with patients, ignore the service record, have no long-term relationship with the veteran. Okay? I'll give you an example. Before I had to appeal my last claim, okay, the one that got me to permanent and total, well, not got me, the one that rated me permanent and total, that's a better way to put it. The doctor, I talked to him with my wife, and it was a virtual appointment because I prefer those because of my PTSD, okay? I talked to him for 17 minutes. I timed it on my phone. 17 minutes. He forgot my name. Right, babe? Yep. She's sitting next to me. He forgot my name. No. So here's the fix. Bring the evaluation process back in-house. A CMP exam should not be a rushed appointment with a stranger. It shouldn't be. It must be a comprehensive review that mandates the inclusion of the veteran's service record, current VA medical diagnosis, and direct input from primary care doctors and mental health providers. The doctors who actually treat the veteran daily know the truth of their condition far better than a contractor meeting them for the first time. CMP exams, you meet the doctor that day. Who the fuck are they to even recommend a rating? It's wild. Get rid of it. Standardize the evidence. Kill the Nexus letter injury. It's number 2. Standardize the evidence. Okay? Why does the paid Nexus letter industry exist? It doesn't exist because of veterans. We use it because the VA mandates that we have to. It exists because VA examiners often provide inadequate opinions that lack sufficient rationale. You know those CMP examiners? There you go. That's why we need them. So here's the fix. If the VA brings exams in-house and utilizing the treating physician's notes, the need for private Nexus letters evaporates. It goes away. The VA needs to hold its own system accountable. Stop farming shit out. You want to be able to audit the VA? Keep everything in the VA. VA needs to hold its system accountable for providing a definitive medical nexus opinion in the first instance, based on the actual history of the veteran. Number 3, and probably to me the most important, veteran involvement in its own adjudication. Raters are often overworked bureaucrats with zero connection to military culture. Not saying all of them. Some of them are veterans. They read files in a vacuum. Okay? They don't know who you are, what you are. They judge you based off of a file. And then they rate you based off of that judging. Okay? It's just like short-term disability for those of you that have gone through that, or long-term disability. No. So here's the fix. Launch aggressive hiring initiatives to place qualified disabled veterans in raider and adjudicator positions. We need decision makers who understand the difference between a grunt sick call slip and an Air Force desk audit. We need people who understand the culture of suck it up and don't complain that leads to empty medical records during service. Because if someone doesn't know that difference, they look at your service record and go, this guy never went to sick call for his back, and now he's claiming a back injury because of his time in service. Where a veteran would go, yeah, that makes sense. I just popped a bunch of Motrin too and kept working at the motor pool. Veterans who understand veterans. Number 4, the warm handoff via tech integration. The biggest point of failure and the biggest opportunity for fraud or lost records is the gap between leaving active duty or reserves and National Guard and entering the VA system. The idea that records get lost in the big 2026, as the kids say, is fucking crazy. It still happens. Still. Oh, I have the wrong member number of my DD-214. How? Everything is digitized. But there's 97,000 different systems out there that don't fucking talk to each other. Stop it. Fix it. So the biggest point of failure, the biggest opportunity for fraud or lost records is the gap between leaving active duty, reserves, or National Guard and entering the VA. Fix. Seamless digital transition of DoD medical records directly into the VA claims ecosystem the day a service member receives their DD-214. The claim should start automatically upon discharge based on service treatment records. This reduces the guessing game years later that opens the door for both wrongful denials and questionable claims. Because fraud works both ways, people. Everyone wants to say veterans are committing fraud. No. The VA and the government are committing more fraud against veterans with wrongful denials. Think about that. Think about it from that perspective. So, conclusion. We are done, by we, I mean veterans and the people who support us, we're done apologizing for demanding the benefits we earned under law and within our contract. We're done apologizing for it. We're done with that shit. The anger directed at veterans for figuring out the system is misdirected, misguided, and pure stupidity. Okay? Don't be mad at the veterans using a map to navigate a minefield. Okay? Sorry. Sorry that the government created the minefield and we fucking figured out the map. Be mad at the people who laid the mines. If you want to fix the VA, pull up a chair, listen to the veterans who have lived through it. Until then, stop complaining that we finally learned how to fight back. Stop it. The veterans deserve a system that ensures that actual disabled veterans have a viable path to compensation and care. Period. This isn't about government. This isn't about making civilians feel good. Because I don't give a fuck about either one of those things. I'm sorry, I don't. What I care about is taking care of my brothers and sisters that serve this country. Thank you for listening. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and share. Comment below whether you agree or disagree. If you disagree, be prepared. I will respond. And call out that you're probably wrong. So, get over it. Also, buy something from my Etsy store. Everyone buy one thing. I'm just kidding. You can buy something if you want to. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day. Great rest of your week. I appreciate you. Thank you.